Hello, lovely ones. Your soul assignment this month is to simply be with what is. Here we are, first full moon of the year. It's a whole new adventure. The calendar has changed. We're into a whole new phase, new opportunity. But this isn't quite the time for action. So this is really the time right now to clarify your inner landscape. You might even notice that you've been tired. You know, perhaps your mind is going, I really want to start doing my intentions. I want to start putting things into place. I want to get my space tidied up, ready for a fresh start in the new year. But you really need to honor what is. This is the thing. Just be with what is. So if your body is actually calling out for some rest right now, honor that. It has been an epic year, 2025. I've said it before, but it's unprecedented as far as astrological and, you know, energetic shifts happen. It's a really big time in consciousness right now. And that was really our cleansing, purging. The year will start moving forward. End of Jan, middle of Feb, when we have Neptune into Aries and we have Saturn into Aries and we have the beginning of the Chinese New Year. We actually have the beginning of the Human Design New Year around 21st, 22nd of Jan as well. And according to Human Design, I mean, this time now is really this time of review and clarification and sitting with what is and what was and what has been. And I think that based on how 2025 has been, we might need an extended period of integration as we step into the new year. You might not be quite as ready and raring to go as you have been in previous years, but this is where it is really important to be with what is, because that will create coherence so that you can create from a really authentic and aligned place moving forward from here. Because if you're somehow resisting what is going on, you know, that you're tired or that you don't want to be feeling this way or that way, then that resistance is actually going to create a misalignment. And when you acknowledge what actually is, it creates a coherence. And it might be that you don't necessarily want to be feeling that, but at least if you can honor that you don't want to be feeling that, but you are feeling that, is really important. Because as soon as you really allow whatever is there and be really honest energetically with the mind and the energy so that they can match up, as I say, that state of coherence is really important, because this is the place that you can create from. Because if you are in any way resisting, that's going to hold you back. That's going to hold you in a state of misalignment. So therefore, what you're wanting to create actually will not be energetically matching up. It's a lot to take in. But this is why it's really important to actually just be with what is at this time. And so I think with the year that we've had, it's really about how can I accept who I have been? You know, last year, I've mentioned it before, was a lot about breaking down these old roles, identities, expectations, these parts of ourselves that have been taking action from a place of validation or external seeking, not from a place of truly what is in alignment with you. So there has to be some level of acceptance of who you have been, of these roles and these identities, these ways that you sacrificed your true nature in order to belong or to fit in or to gain love. And remember, when you're doing this, this actually isn't truly receiving love, because it's receiving love for something that you're doing only in order to receive that, and therefore that's conditional. So it's not actually a sustainable way to fill your cup. And this is what most of us have realized in 2025. It is not sustainable. So a lot of 2025 has been about creating boundaries, has been about even just within ourselves creating boundaries to say, I don't want to play that game anymore. I need something more for my life and for what I want to create, how I want to show up. And this is what 2026 is going to bring us. But there's still just this little kind of moment right now that we are sitting with, just that last bit of clearing and integration and releasing. And we've still got a few planets, as I say, Saturn and Neptune are actually in the final degrees of Pisces at this time. So they're really at that final end, that big cycle of the zodiac, you know, the whole cycle. So it still might be a little bit of letting go, a bit of grief, a bit of remorse, if you like, for ways that you have shown up and that it hasn't been from a place of love for yourself or for others. But honor, be with what is, like honor that remorse, honor that, yeah, that's what you did. And, you know, if you can really honor that and take responsibility for that, then that allows you to show up differently again. But as I say, if you're resisting that, if you're not owning that, then that's going to keep coming in and tapping you on the shoulder, and, you know, it'll play out in different ways and possibly create, you know, unsatisfactory results again, so that you really learn that lesson. So remember, this is not how you have to do things. 2025 was such an incredible time of breaking things down, of shoving them in our face, of helping us realize what we need to release so that we can gallop forward in this year of the horse. You know, this is all about forward momentum and movement, and we need to be ready, and we need to release all that baggage so that we can run with freedom, run wild with the horses. And so here we are at this full moon in Cancer. Not only do we have all that processing of 2025, now Cancer and the moon, heightened emotions. So it's likely that you may have heightened emotions at this time. I mean, this is why I bring out these frequency upgrades at the time of the full moon. It's purely because emotions are heightened. So now is the time to offer a tool for you to support you in your processing, in your integration, in your moving forward with this. And of course, I'm talking about the general energies, but I like to bring them to you at that full moon so that you, when you're in that peak emotional experience, that you get to, as I say, have a tool that you can work with that supports releasing and moving through to the other side. So this Cancerian time is really, you know, Cancer as an archetype, it's very much the caring, nurturer, that mama energy. It's all about home life and, you know, what do we need to feel safe and secure and nurtured in our home life. And we have a bit of a polarity here with Capricorn, because Capricorn is all about duty and, you know, achievement and determination. So there can be this push or pull at the moment of, I'm ready to move forward in my year. I've got all these ideas, you know, like the reality is, chances are, you know, from this level, you know, we've been in the dreamy realms of Pisces for months now. And it's like, we know what we want to, you know, what our dreams, what our intuition, our imagining is all about for the year ahead. But as I say, it's not quite time for action. And this is this push-pull at the moment, because Cancer is feeling this heightened emotion and, you know, how do you nurture yourself? But how do you have that push and pull with that sense of duty as well? So it's really a push and pull between our heart and duty. And it's like, what we need right now is to create alignment with that, so that we're not being pulled in those polarities, so that we're actually cohesive and aligned with where we're coming from. And ultimately that does come back to the heart, because I might have mentioned before, in Chinese medicine, the heart is said to house the spirit. Now, if we're connected to our heart, it means that our spirit is housed within our heart. It's safe, it's secure, you know, and we're acting really from that place of spirit. And I see that as that spark, that connection to the whole of the divine. So if we are working from that place through our heart, through our spirit, then we're actually allowing the divine to flow through us. It's not coming from a place of ego, it's coming from a place of the greater good. So we're going to do a little bit of work on the heart today. We're going to do a little bit of work to support you to really come into alignment with this space. So you may even like to place your hands on your heart, or one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And I invite you, let's just do a little bit of a drop-in meditation to begin with. Okay, I invite you to just close your eyes And just taking a few long, slow, steady breaths. Just allowing yourself to be present right here, right now, being with whatever is presenting in your body, in your mind, in your heart. Just allow it for just a moment. Just accept all that's there. And if you do notice it's things that you're resisting or that you prefer not to be feeling or thinking, then just acknowledge that you are feeling and thinking those, even though you prefer not to. But tuning into that space of your heart for just a moment. And as I say, here we are at this turning point, certainly in our physical calendar, our Gregorian calendar. And just reflecting for a moment, just energetically, emotionally, feeling all that has been over this past year. And as you sit here right now, at the end of 2025, beginning of 2026, just consider, what are you moving away from? What can you accept that may not actually fit anymore? What have you discovered in this past year? And just for a moment, trust in that flow of life and the universe. And what are you grateful for having experienced in this past year? In 1 year's time, so this time next year, how do you want to be feeling? Get a sense of that in your entire being. How do you actually want to be feeling 1 year from now? Feel it in your heart. And you don't even have to have words for it. It can just be an energy. Because this year, more than ever, the energy is going to be most important. The energy, the emotional energy. Because this is what we need to follow. What personal qualities or gifts are you ready to nourish in 2026? How are you going to bring them to the world? Just consider that for a moment. What you want to bring to the world. And what are you now ready to believe about yourself and about the world? You know, perhaps it wasn't or didn't feel safe to believe it beforehand. But based on all that you've encountered in this past year and where you sit right here, right now, what are you now ready to believe about yourself and the world? And then go ahead and name your year in 2 words, or 1 or 2 words. It doesn't have to be just 2 words, 1 or 2 words. Name your year. So find a word or 2 that describes how you want to move through 2026. And hold that in your heart. And I'd love to hear in the comments what your 2 words are. I mean, you just putting it out physically into the ethers can help manifest that as well. It makes you accountable for that. So on that note, I will share mine. My words for 2026 are love and presence. And I've really, well, I don't even have to consider from the mind, but I've really considered from my being, like how my life would be if I was to show up in everything I do with love and presence, in the way I treat myself, in the way I treat others, in the way I walk, in the way I eat my food, in the way I cook, in the way I, walk my dog, whatever. Love and presence is what I am committing to bringing to myself and to the world in 2026. So I'd really love to hear what you're bringing to the world, how you want to show up. As I say, it really supports you putting it out there and being accountable as well. So I'm going to share with you a couple of quick Qigong movements as well that just will support aligning with your heart and really allow you to kind of feel more comfortable just being with what is, which is the theme, the soul assignment for this month, so that you can just be with what is. That push and pull of heart and duty, you don't need to play that game. Consider your 2 words, really feel into those in every moment that you can. As I say, bring it to everything you can. But, you may even like to do these Qigong practices daily over the coming 2 or 3 weeks. Even just a couple of days will support you really coming back into alignment with yourself and with those words in mind, so that you can step into all of that when that time for forward motion comes. And as I say, we're looking at the end of January 26th, February 14th, and that's when Neptune goes into Aries. So a beginning of a whole new zodiac cycle, and it comes back to the self, to the I, to the spiritual warrior who gets to stand in his power and go, this is what I bring to you, world. So for now, as I say, it's about this inner landscape and just really allowing yourself to embody this new feeling without the action. Don't put pressure on for action just yet, but I hope you enjoy these Qigong practices as well. So you're going to start with your feet roughly hip width apart. And we're going to place one hand over the other at our lower dantian, which is just beneath our belly button. So that's my belly button, and it's just here. This is, if you haven't done Qigong before, this is a potent storehouse of our energy. So it's kind of where we connect to the divine life force that's all around us, and we invite it in. So just taking a couple of slow, steady breaths here in this moment. Feeling your feet connected to the earth. And just allow yourself to really honor your center. And so from here, we're going to take one hand up towards the sky, and we're going to face our palm towards the sky. We're going to take one hand down towards the earth, and we're going to face our palm down towards the earth, just in case it's out of camera. We're taking a breath in here, and then as we breathe out, we're just going to change our hands over. Breathing in again as we place one hand up towards the sky, so stretching up your arm, I just don't want to be out of camera, and one hand down towards the earth. So breathing out again and breathing in as we stretch, and breathing out again, breathing in as you stretch the arms apart, breathing out and in. Just feeling a stretch up the side of the arm as you breathe out and in. Keeping the legs nice and strong and that connection to your dantian, to your center, nice and strong. Breathing out and in. We'll do one more each side. Bringing your hands almost like you're holding a teacup, if you like, just around the area of the dantian. So bringing your hands, your palms facing upwards towards the sky. And you're going to take a breath in, and the hand that's underneath, you're going to create a circle, bring it to above your head, and it's like you're then drawing a line down your center and replacing that above the other hand. So breathing in, big circle. Breathing out. This is one of my favorite Qigong practices at the moment. So we breathe in and out, and it's really good just for centering, coming back to your center, coming into that place of alignment. So if you ever have a intense experience, someone throws you off your center, or you're in the wrong environment and you just feel a bit overstimulated, if you can find a place to do this, it just gathers your energy and brings you back to your center. Notice how it makes you feel. Right, we'll do one more each side. Beautiful. So our last Qigong movement we're going to do is we're going to breathe in. And as we breathe out, we're just gathering that beautiful life force, that Qi, and we're bringing it down through our center again in a different way. Breathing in and bringing it down, bring that life force down into our being. Breathing in and out. And in and out. Okay, we'll do one more here. And then bringing the hands back to your lower dantian. Just feeling that connection to your center. Feel if it feels any different. You know, they're really simple practices, but if you can do these, I mean, if you can manage more than a couple of times a day, awesome. But I do these as part of the morning practice, and I find it's the best way to just start your day. So if you can do them with your one or two words in mind as well, and really start to embody them, you might find that it sets you off nicely when that time for forward momentum comes. One last thing I want to share with you, and this is simply to help you open your heart a little bit more. So again, you could use this on its own if you're just in need, if you're feeling still those threads of grief from last year. There was a lot that we had to let go of, a lot that we had to release and change. So it's natural if you've got grief arising. And we're just going to do a little thymus tap, and the thymus actually connects us to our higher heart. It supports our immune function, and when there is grief, our immune can be suppressed. So this is just to help you open a little bit more in this integrative time so that you can really step into that forward motion, that forward movement, acting from that place of heart, not just from that place of needing to take action. You know, it's really coming from an aligned and heart-led way. So simply, your thymus is basically just under the sternum, which is the bone in the center of your upper chest here. So just find basically the center of it there. You'll find the most comfortable spot to tap, and you're just simply going to tap, 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 tap. And just notice what happens as you tap. Notice if you feel a gentle opening of the heart. Notice if you feel more energy anywhere in the body. You might feel it in your back, you might feel it elsewhere, but just gently tap, tap, tapping. And this is really good if you ever come down with something, you know, you can just tap and activate that little army, the immune cells that come out and fight off things. It actually kind of like wakes them up. But yeah, notice what's happening across your chest, across your back. It's a beautiful practice. I mean, this one's really easy to do anytime. So even if you take one thing away, take this one away and try it whenever you need a little bit of a gentle heart opening. So wishing you so many blessings on this year ahead. I really hope it is going to be a magnificent one for you. And I guess, you know, just be with what is. This is what the theme of the month is. So whatever it is, know that it's perfect for you. Know that it's divinely guided and somehow going to help you get into greater alignment with what you have come here to do.